Superstar Lizzo is being accused of sexual harassment in a new lawsuit that's been filed. 3 of the star's former dancers say that the Grammy-winning singer, along with the tour's dance captain, created a hostile work environment. The lawsuit claims that the dancers not only face sexual and religious harassment, but weight shaming. Another incident alleges that the singer pressured one of the dancers to touch a nude performer at a club in Amsterdam. Here with us now, trial attorney and legal analyst Misty Marris. Hello again to you. So, one interesting quote from a lawyer for the plaintiff said this, that the stunning nature of how Lizzo and her management team treated their performers seems to go against everything that Lizzo stands for publicly. Considering that she's always promoted the image of body positivity, how damaging could this be for her career?
Oh, Marni, that is a great question because there's 2 elements to this, right? There's one bucket, which is her public relations and her reputation as a performer. Then there are the legal arguments. So taking some of this and breaking it down, we have the allegations relating to sexual harassment, hostile work environment, religious allegations against religious harassment. We have allegations relating to false imprisonment. There's a whole slew of allegations which are really, really salacious in this lawsuit. One of those allegations relates to weight shaming. Now, in most jurisdictions, weight is actually not what's called a protected class. So taking an adverse employment action, like terminating somebody because of their weight, in most jurisdictions is not illegal. And that's the jurisdiction that we're in now in California federal court. However, from a legal perspective, it could be if that's linked to some underlying disability like obesity or some other type of medical issue. However, take that aside. Those are the legal defenses to that particular claim relating to weight shaming. I will say from a public relations perspective, that is incredibly damaging because on that front, you're talking about someone who has been a promoter of somebody at any size, and that's part of her persona. So that is incredibly problematic, and I bet you that's in there because it's likely part of a strategy by the plaintiffs to potentially resolve the case in a settlement because of the damaging nature of that allegation to her professional persona as opposed to the legal veracity of those claims.
Yeah, settlement potentially likely here. I'm actually surprised. So it's not illegal to fire somebody if they're overweight? In most jurisdictions? This is something that
many people don't know. So I am in New York City. Most recently, I'm talking May of 2023, new legislation that protects you in the employment sphere from discrimination based on weight and height. That is a brand new statute. There's a similar statute in San Francisco. These are local statutes. This is not something that's covered under Title VII of the Civil Rights Law, which this is brought under, or any state equivalent of that. However, there are ways to tie being overweight to something that is protected, like disability, health condition, or something to that effect. So that's how you see these types of claims manifest and have veracity in a lawsuit. But weight itself, only in a very small amount of jurisdictions. And Marni, I'm talking New York City. This is one of the most liberal, employee-friendly states in the country, and that just happened for us here.
Wow,
so it's
that's
a very
shocking.
Interesting, nuanced legal argument for sure.
Absolutely. One other case I want to talk to you about, this in Vegas. Cardi B, a fan threw the drink at her face, and then in response, she threw the microphone down at the fan. Could she face charges here?
It's certainly possible because when you throw something with the intent to hit someone, or it's more likely than not that you're going to, for instance, throwing it into a crowd, it could be an assault. You don't have to use your fist. It could be an appendage, something you throw that is an assault. Now, it appears that the victim who's come forward had said that they were bruised, so it would likely be a misdemeanor if there were any charges. While it's possible, I would say it's unlikely. However, from a civil law perspective, there could absolutely be a lawsuit filed in relation to that by the person who was actually hit by that microphone. And quite frankly, Marni, she's pretty lucky that it didn't cause more significant damage and it's just bruising. If somebody had had a pre-existing medical condition and it caused something more serious, we might be having a different discussion. But right here, I don't necessarily see charges coming, although it is certainly a possibility based just on the sheer letter of the law.
Yeah, and we're seeing more fans throw things. Could fans face more charges, and venues needing to take more accountability over it? I could talk about this for days. Misty Marris, we're out of time, though. I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.